Elon Musk warns about secret millionaire Donald Trump and a black homeless man have been hiding. Ha ha! The city lights flickered like fireflies caught in glass jars. A jagged line where shadows soaked the cold streets. Somewhere in that blur, Samuel sat curled beneath a cracked bus stop shelter, his coat a patchwork of years and dirt. The heaviness in his chest wasn't just the chill biting deep. It was the weight of every lost chance, every scar from a life that never gave him a break. His hands trembled, not just from cold, but from a storm he carried inside, a past full of broken promises and silent regrets. Tonight, the city roared with unease. Luxury cars zipped by slick glass towers, their windows glowing gold. While just feet away, the dark alley whispered secrets no one dared to hear. The divide between shiny power and desperate survival wasn't just visible. It was a living, breathing thing, crawling under the skin. Samuel's breath came in quick bursts. He hugged himself tightly. Samuel's ears caught the words like knives. Trump, infacantes, años moved offshore. A plan to crash the next election. His heart slammed against his ribs. Could this be real? The billionaire, the man on everyone's lips, Donald Trump, wrapped in whispers of scandal, corruption deeper than anyone dared admit. Samuel's mind raced. Was this the twist fate had been hiding? Was this the key to escape the prison carved out by poverty and pain? He edged closer, straining to catch every damaging detail, each lie tangled in deceit. The men spoke fast, shadows shifting around them like living ghosts. Plans so huge they could shake the city's very core. Suddenly a chill ran down Samuel's spine. From the darkness, a figure appeared. A tall man in a sharp suit, face hidden beneath a low-brimmed hat. Something about him screamed danger. Samuel's breath caught. He wanted to run, vanish back into the night, but his legs felt glued to the cracked pavement. The stranger moved closer, silent as sin, eyes burning like coals in the night. Samuel could feel the weight of the moment pressing down. This wasn't just an accident overheard. It was a trap. He swallowed hard, fighting the panic clawing at his throat. Here he was again, facing an enemy far bigger than the cold or hunger. A monster carved from power and secrets. And now, this fight wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about truth, about risking every shattered piece inside him to challenge the world that had forgotten him. Could he do it? Could one broken man, lost in the city's shadows, hold the secret that could topple a titan? Or was he already doomed? Just another casualty swallowed whole by the darkness. The streets held their breath. Samuel's trembling hands clenched into fists as the quiet stretched, breaking only with the distant siren's wail. The night was no longer just cold. It was dangerous. What would he do now? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like. That really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. The streets held their breath. Samuel's trembling hands clenched into fists as the quiet stretched, breaking only with the distant siren's wail. The night was no longer just cold. It was dangerous. The stranger took another step, and Samuel's heart raced. There was something intensely familiar about him, something unsettling. Instinctively, Samuel took a step back, but in that instant, everything shattered. A deafening crash erupted from a nearby building. Glass shattered, lights flickered, and the thunderous explosion lit up the alley like the sun. A shockwave slammed into Samuel, knocking him off his feet. The world spun in chaos. People screamed, sirens wailed, and shadows danced wildly as debris rained down. In the chaos, Samuel caught a glimpse of the suited man. His hat fell away, revealing a face that made Samuel's breath hitch. A face he recognized from old newspaper clips and news broadcasts. It was him, the forgotten son of a corrupt millionaire, the prodigal who had sworn allegiance to change, but was marred in the scandal. "Get down!" the man shouted, and the urgency pierced through the fear that enveloped Samuel. No longer just a witness to dark secrets, Samuel was drawn into a web of deception larger than he ever imagined. Suddenly, the danger was no longer just the looming figure. It was the explosion, the city crumbling around them. Samuel scrambled to his feet. The street was a frenzy of disbelief as people stumbled, confused and terrified. Then, within the wild confusion, he snapped back to the conversation he'd overheard. Trump, hidden accounts, millions moved offshore. Were they planning something even bigger? Was this attack just a cover? Paranoia gripped him, and Samuel's belly twisted. Before he could process it further, the suited man raced toward him. "You didn't hear anything, you understand? They'll do worse than take you out." Samuel opened his mouth, but words failed him. Instead, he watched as the man slipped a folded piece of paper into Samuel's trembling hand before turning to disappear into the shadows. "Find me if you want the truth," he shouted, already lost in the chaos. Samuel's heart pounded. He unfolded the paper, words blurry under the flickering streetlight. Names, dates, and numbers swam before his eyes. A ledger of betrayal. But there was something else. A name he never expected to see. Samuel. His stomach dropped. Was this a setup? Did they know him? Anxiety coiled tightly around his throat. He looked around. The crowd surged with confusion and fear. Nobody was paying attention to the wintry night turning into a horrific spectacle. Just then, a sharp voice called out, "Samuel!" Turning, he saw another face he recognized. Lena, a reporter from the local news, running toward him. Her hair was a messy cloud, her eyes wide with urgency. "You need to come with me, now." "Why?" he stammered, gripping the paper tighter. "Because you're the only one who can stop this," she exclaimed, glancing back nervously. "You don't see it, do you? It's all connected. We were wrong about the millionaires. Some things are deeper than even they can control." Everything Samuel thought he understood slipped from his grasp. Who was he? Just a man on the streets, forgotten. But somehow he had become the key to a puzzle that could shake foundations. And now he was caught in a relentless storm. Lena reached out, grabbing his hand. "Come on, we don't have much time." As they dashed into the night, another explosion rocked the city. a palpable reminder that danger lingered just out of sight. Samuel's heart raced. He wasn't stepping into a future anymore. He was plunging into a war. But could he fight? Could one man emerge from the shadows and face an enemy that loomed even larger than he feared? In the chaos, Samuel didn't just question the world around him. He questioned himself. Was he just another victim? Or could he confront the monsters and nightmares you could only trace back through dark alleys and whispered secrets? And as the sirens wailed in the distance, his grip on the paper tightened. He was ready to find out. The streets held their breath. The world around Samuel seemed to freeze. The man in the hat moved closer, shadows cloaking his sharp features. Samuel felt a pulse quicken in his throat, a beat of dread. What did this stranger want? Why was he here? And then, like a thunderclap, shattering a heavy silence, the stranger spoke. "They're looking for you, Samuel." The words hung in the air, thick and heavy. How did he know his name? Samuel's heart raced, each beat a reminder of everything he fought through. A life swallowed by hardship, a name forgotten by society. Who was this man? "Come with me," the stranger urged, his voice low and smooth, like silk over gravel. There was an urgency there, a desperation that sent chills racing down Samuel's spine. Before he could react, the stranger reached out, gripping Samuel's arm with an intensity that made him flinch. Samuel opened his mouth to protest, but the man's eyes bore into him, dark and piercing, like a storm threatening to break. "You don't understand," the man said, leaning in closer. "You're the key. The information you overheard, it goes deeper than you know. They'll silence you if you stay here." Samuel's mind spun. What information? He had merely caught fragments of a conversation. Nothing concrete, nothing that could change the world. But fear clawed at him, whispering that maybe this was more than just casual talk. Then the distant wail of sirens broke the spell, pulling Samuel back to reality. The city was alive with danger. But was this stranger part of it? Before he could decide, a commotion erupted from the alley. A crowd had gathered, faces illuminated in the flickering glow of street lamps. Shouts echoed. A figure burst through the throng. Another man, scruffy and wild-eyed. "Trump's been caught," the man yelled, panic seeping through his voice. "He's being arrested! They found the papers! It's all falling apart!" Samuel's breath caught in his throat. What? The billionaire, the man whose name sparked fear and loyalty in equal measure, was being arrested? Questions flooded his mind. Who was pulling the strings? But then, as if the universe was tearing itself apart, the ground trembled beneath them. Suddenly, a blast echoed through the air. Smoke and chaos erupted in the street. Lights shattered. Police officers shouted. Samuel fell back, stumbling. And then it hit him. A roar of flames spewing from a nearby building. The stranger shouted, pulling him up, urgency coursing through every word. "Now! We need to get out of here!" His grip was firm, guiding Samuel as they dodged debris and shouts. But Samuel felt something shift. In the commotion, the voice of the wild-eyed man came back to him. They found the papers. The weight of those words crashed over him, pulling him deeper into confusion. The stranger continued to pull him away from the chaos. But shadows danced in the corner of Samuel's vision. He noticed the body, lifeless, crumpled near the flames. A familiar coat splattered with blood. A whisper of recognition struck him. No, it can't be! The stranger pushed him forward, urgency in his voice, but Samuel froze, disbelief anchoring him to the spot. He was... Move! The stranger shouted, and Samuel snapped back to reality. Everything exploded around him, sound and light, chaos and fear. But beneath that discord, a chilling revelation settled deep within him. The dark secrets of the powerful weren't hidden away. They were right here, crumbling in front of his eyes. A thought lingered as he turned, gasping, the city crumbling as questions swirled. Was this the fight he was meant for? Was Samuel merely a pawn? Or could he rewrite the game entirely? As smoke curled through the air, shadows closed in. Samuel's heart raced, fear and resolve battling within him. The truth was burning just beyond the flames, and he had to find it, no matter the cost. The streets held their breath, and Samuel felt the heat at his back as he turned. The chaos faded into a rush of sounds. Sirens wailed, voices shouted, and the crackling flames danced like wild spirits. But deep inside, Samuel was frozen, anchored to the sight of the figure on the ground, the Famil. Then, all at once, the stranger's grip tightened, pulling him through the chaos. Focus! We need to go! His voice was urgent, slicing through Samuel's fog of disbelief. Samuel stumbled forward, torn between the heat of the flames and the chill of loss swelling in his chest. They ran, navigating through the crowd, but his mind raced back. Who was that man? A face from his past, like a ghost from a life he tried to leave behind. I can't just leave him, he shouted, glaring back in desperation. Do you want to die too? The stranger's eyes darkened as their momentary struggle for clarity met the hum of approaching danger. We have to move, Samuel. They're coming! Samuel's heart thudded heavily. He knew that face, that man, yet the confusion pulled tight like a noose. The man had once claimed a bond, a magnetic pull of a shared history, a silhouette of family gone awry. But family meant nothing in this inferno. The stranger yanked him once again, desperation dripping from every word. He was your past. Your future is slipping away. They plunged into an alley, shadows closing in, breathing heavy, filled with a cacophony of sirens that felt almost alive. But just as they reached a dead end, a crack echoed. A voice he had heard in faded memories surfaced like a phantom. Samuel? He turned, feeling the air thicken. There, standing at the end of the alley, was a woman with wild hair and fire in her eyes. Sarah, his sister. Breathless and trembling, she staggered into view. You have to listen to me. They're watching you. They know! Samuel's heart sank like a stone. How could she be here? How had they found him? Sarah, what do you mean? Who knows? Panic clawed at his throat, desperation flooding his senses. They're all connected. Trump, the millionaire, the hidden accounts. It's worse than you can imagine. Her voice was frantic, and Samuel felt a knot twist tighter within. What? He edged closer, disbelief colliding with dread. What do you know? But before her words could take shape, a sudden blast of light exploded from the end of the alley. An expensive car, sleek and black, pulled up with a screech. The window rolled down, revealed a familiar face. one Samuel thought he would never see again. It was his estranged father, a man cloaked in darkness, corrupted by greed and power. "Get in!" The man's voice was urgent, but it knotted Samuel's stomach. No, not him. Not now. Through the shock, Sarah reached for Samuel, her fingers trembling. "They're coming for you, Sam. This is your chance." Samuel's breath came heavy, torn between anger and despair. For years he had chased the wild notion of family, but the truth was buried in betrayal. And him? Why would I trust him? At that moment, the world shifted. Gunshots echoed, cutting through the air like knives. People screamed, and everything around them grew chaotic. The invitation was no longer just an offer. It was a command, wrapped in fear. The stranger beside Samuel stepped back, horror dawning in his eyes. "You don't understand." The flames from earlier flickered behind them, casting eerie shadows. With every heartbeat, Samuel felt the ties of loyalty and bloodline stretch beyond their limits. Punching internal wars clashed. Could he really join his father? What was it Sarah knew? What secret ties linked the two men in the car, the stranger beside him, and the bloody figure lying in the street? And suddenly, in the flickering chaos, a startling clarity cut through the storm. Samuel was entangled in a web far darker than family ties or lost promises. He felt a cold sweat break over him. "Your father, he was behind it all, Sam." The stranger's words, steeped in urgency, crashed over him. Suddenly, he was no longer just running toward safety. He was barreling toward a truth that could unravel everything he thought he knew. The question hung in the air, thick and suffocating. Could he face the monster he came from, or would the blood on his hands define him? And with sirens blaring, flames licking closer, Samuel felt the stakes climb higher, the walls crumbling around him, his entire world on the edge of a new, untenable revelation. The streets held their breath. Samuel felt a tremor pulse through him, the cool night air wrapping around his thoughts like a vice. The figure in the hat moved closer, tension crackling like static. A chill went down his spine, pinning him in place, and he knew if he turned back now, he'd be swallowed by the city's shadows forever. "Stay right there, don't move," the stranger growled. The deep rasp sent shivers through Samuel. Thoughts raced in his mind, and just as he was about to bolt, a sound shattered the stillness. A gunshot echoing down the street like thunder. His pupils dilated, heart pounding. The two men with their whispered secrets spun around, their voices shrill with panic. Samuel ducked instinctively, the world around him blurring into chaos. The sharp report of another shot rang out full. What just happened? Samuel's thoughts spiraled. He caught a glimpse of a man in a dark hoodie sprinting from the alley, leaving chaos in his wake. Everything spiraled into a frenetic dance. The two men he had been eavesdropping on were turned to face the alley, faces ashen with shock. Suddenly, the suited man lunged forward, gun drawn. It wasn't just a confrontation. It felt like a war was about to erupt. Samuel's breath caught as he pressed back against the cold concrete, fear constricting his chest. But then slow motion came into play. The suited man aimed, but something or someone blocked his path. A woman. She burst onto the scene like a firework, arms wide, eyes wild. "No, Jacob, don't shoot!" Her voice cut through the tension like a knife. It's not worth it! The name struck Samuel like a hammer. He felt the world tilt beneath him. Jacob? Was this monster really named Jacob? Could he be one of the men that all but whispered ruin into the night? The shot hung in the air, suspended. A tangle of panic surged through Samuel as he realized he knew the woman. Anna, he breathed. She used to help at the shelter, always with a smile on her face, always spreading warmth. But now there was no warmth. She was shaking, pleading with desperation. The suited man hesitated, words pouring from his lips in a frantic river. You don't understand. He knows. We can't risk it. Risk what? Samuel whispered, daring to edge closer, drawn by the gravity of her presence. The woman turned her gaze to Samuel, as if noticing him for the first time. For a fleeting moment, connection sparked between them, like an electric thread. Samuel, she breathed, her expression awash with nostalgia and concern. And then came the twist. Jacob pulled the trigger. The shot reverberated. The bullet found its mark in the chaos. Everything shattered. Anna fell, the world crashing down around them. Samuel's heart stopped. Melting reality filtered through his fingers. A dream spiraling into nightmare. This wasn't the city he knew. It wasn't just secrets now. It was blood and betrayal and shattered lives. He felt bile rise in his throat, desperation flooding his veins. Anna! No! No! But it was too late. The street lit up with flashing lights, sirens wailing like banshees. The moment the bullets flew, all his dreams of escape crumbled like old paper. Everyone scattered, panic erupting. But Samuel stood frozen, rooted to the ground, a broken man, watching as fate twisted into a dark spiral. Did he just witness the end of everything he thought was true? Or was this just the beginning of something far worse? His hands trembled as he looked around, grasping the reality of his world, no longer sure where truth ends and deception begins. Samuel's heart was a drum, thumping hard against his ribcage as he stared at the dark-suited stranger. The world shrank around him, the shadows growing sharper, more menacing. The words he'd overheard felt like a maze, trapping him inside his own fear. Then everything changed. A deafening crack split the air like a gunshot. The streetlight flickered violently, sputtering before plunging into darkness. Samuel instinctively crouched lower, fear gripping him. Screams erupted somewhere far off, panic rising like smoke. The stranger vanished into the night, leaving only his shadow behind, a dark, looming presence. The voices Samuel had been eavesdropping on fell silent. He could hear his own breath, ragged and quick, the icy air biting into his lungs, and then chaos erupted. A fierce light burst forth from the direction of the luxury cars. A brilliant flare illuminated the street, revealing a scene that made his breath hitch. There, amidst the sleek bodies of cars, smoke billowed in angry clouds. The sharp scent of burning rubber mixed with something else. Fear, desperation. He blinked, trying to understand. Was this some twisted prank? ¡No! De pánico en el aire fue roa y real. Figuras batieron por el humo, son clamando, otros tomblando al suelo. ¿Una protesta? ¿Un ataque? His heart raced as confusion spiraled. Suddenly, a woman's scream rang out, piercing the chaos. Samuel's head snapped in her direction. She was on the ground, hair swirling like a dark halo around her face, hands trembling as she reached toward the flames, licking at her surroundings. Before he could think, before he could even register his own legs moving, he dashed toward her. But before he could reach her, something even more shocking happened. A figure emerged from the smoke, a face he recognized. The man from the alley, the one whispering about Trump, suddenly stood there, eyes wide, jaw clenched. And just behind him was someone Samuel thought he'd never see again. His brother, David! David? Samuel's voice came out barely above a whisper. It felt like ice melting in the sun, warmth flooding him with confusion, hope, and dread all at once. The brother he thought lost to addiction to the straits was standing there, alive. But why with this man? How had they met? "Get in the car!" David yelled, urgency tight in his tone as he motioned frantically. Samuel hesitated, torn between his brother's safety and the chaos surrounding them. The stranger's whispered secrets suddenly didn't matter anymore. David's sharp eyes locked onto Samuel's, pleading, the desperation written all over his face. "We have to go now." But then, bang! A deafening sound erupted behind them. A car exploded in a burst of fire and shrapnel, sending debris flying. People scatter like verdes estartos por sus neces. Blood. Pánico. El mundo alrededor se burló por el súbito desaco de violencia. Samuel. David lanzó el hijo para su coche. But as Samuel started to turn away, he caught sight of the man in the dark suit again. Now standing tall and almost regal amidst the madness, a smirk etched into his features. He raised a gloved hand high, as if conducting the chaos, giving off an aura of control, of power. Samuel's voice con el tuerzo. ¿A quién era este hombre? ¿Qué había colado a David? Entrecasado a... As they scrambled to the car, the moment electrified Samuel's existence. He glanced back one last time at the dark figure with the smirk as the world dissolved into chaos behind him. Questions swirled in his mind, secrets, lies, and the thought that maybe everything he had believed was wrong. What was David caught up in? And why had he come here, now, just when Samuel was about to claw his way into something bigger? The door slammed behind him, but the shadows were only just beginning to unfold. Samuel's heart pounded in his chest, each beat echoing the danger rising around him. That figure in the hat was close now, and the air crackled with unease. Fear gripped him, but a fierce resolve bubbled beneath. He wasn't just going to hide anymore, not this time. As the man drew closer, Samuel could see the sharp lines of his suit and the glint of something metallic at his waist. A gun? He held his breath, muscles tensing, ready to bolt if things went sideways. But then, just as the stranger was about to speak, a sharp crack shattered the night. Gunfire! Adrenaline surged through Samuel, instinct kicking in. He ducked behind a nearby trash bin, his breath quickening. He heard shouts now, angry voices blending with the sirens that were growing louder. "What the hell was that?" one of the men earlier was shouting. panic rippling through his voice. "We didn't plan for this!" Samuel peeked around the corner. What he saw made his heart stop. The figure in the suit had spun around, eyes wide, searching. In the chaos, a third man emerged from the shadows, holding a gun, aiming straight at the suited man. This wasn't just any side character. Samuel recognized him instantly. Marcus, the local drug dealer. "Get your hands where I can see them, Mason!" Marcus spat, rage twisting his features. Mason? That was the name of the man in the suit, a name packed with weight. Samuel felt a chill race down his spine. Who was this man? And how was he connected to something so dangerous? "Listen, Marcus, we can work this out," Mason said, voice smooth but trembling at the edges. "You don't know what you're messing with." Samuel pressed closer, heart pounding louder than the chaos. He needed to hear this. Whatever was happening felt monumental. "Do you think I care about your little schemes?" Marcus shot back, anger spilling over. "You're the one putting everything at risk. The money, the plans, they'll all come crashing down if you keep screwing around." Samuel felt the ground shift beneath his feet. Suddenly, it hit him like a wave, a chance to uncover secrets. Mason wasn't just a suit. He was wrapped in a web of power, a player in something massive. But then, what Marcus said next froze Samuel in place. "This isn't just about the money. You're involved in something bigger, something that could ruin lives. Those hidden accounts, they're for more than just you, Mason." To hear those words felt like shattering glass in the still night. Samuel's heart raced. Had he stumbled upon something monumental? Was the fate of the city swirling in this encounter? Before he could process the implications, gunfire erupted again, scattering everyone into fear and confusion. Samuel ducked low, his gut twisted tight. It was no longer just about him, and the game had suddenly escalated. He glimpsed Marcus turning, shaking his head. "You don't know what you're dealing with, but I won't let you ruin everything." Samuel's pulse quickened. Was this the twist the universe had been hiding from him? A chance to be more than just a man in the shadows? But before he could decide, the world erupted again. A loud thud as Marcus pulled the trigger. Samuel flinched, heart leaping in his throat. Then silence fell, thick and heavy. Footsteps echoed. Was this it? Would he be swept away in the chaos? Or had he found the key to breaking free from the darkness that had held him? He held his breath, the night pregnant with uncertainty, waiting for the next drama to unfold, even as the danger closed in. The weight of the moment loomed large. What was he about to witness? Samuel's heart was a drum, thumping hard against his ribcage as he stared at the dark-suited stranger. The world shrank around him, the shadows growing sharper, more menacing. The words he'd overheard felt like a maze trapping him inside his own fear. Then everything changed. A deafening crack split the air like a gunshot. The streetlight flickered violently, sputtering before plunging into darkness. Samuel instinctively crouched low, fear gripping him. He heard shouts now, angry voices blending with the sirens that were growing louder. "What the hell was that?" One of the men earlier was shouting, panic rippling through his voice. We didn't plan for this. Samuel ducked behind a nearby trash bin, his breath quickening. He caught a glimpse of a man in a dark hoodie sprinting from the alley, leaving chaos in his wake. Everything spiraled into a frenetic dance. The two men he had been eavesdropping on were turned to face the alley, faces ashen with shock. Suddenly, the figure in the suit had spun around, eyes wide, searching. In the chaos, a third man emerged from the shadows, holding a gun, aiming straight at the suited man. This wasn't just any side character. Samuel recognized him instantly. Marcus, the local drug dealer. "Get your hands where I can see them, Mason," Marcus spat, rage twisting his features. Mason? That was the name of the man in the suit, a name packed with weight. Samuel felt a chill race down his spine. Who was this man? And how was he connected to something so dangerous? "Listen! Marcus, we can work this out," Mason said, voice smooth but trembling at the edges. "You don't know what you're messing with." Samuel pressed closer, heart pounding louder than the chaos. He needed to hear this. Whatever was happening felt monumental. "Do you think I care about your little schemes?" Marcus shot back, anger spilling over. "You're the one putting everything at risk. The money, the plans, they'll all come crashing down if you keep screwing around." Samuel felt the ground shift beneath his feet. Suddenly, it hit him like a wave, a chance to uncover secrets. Mason wasn't just a suit. He was wrapped in a web of power, a player in something massive. But then, what Marcus said next froze Samuel in place. "This isn't just about the money. You're involved in something bigger, something that could ruin lives. Those hidden accounts, they're for more than just you, Mason." To hear those words felt like shattering glass in the still night. Samuel's heart raced. Had he stumbled upon something monumental? Was the fate of the city swirling in this encounter? Before he could process the implications, gunfire erupted again, scattering everyone into fear and confusion. Samuel ducked low, his gut twisted tight. It was no longer just about him, and the game had suddenly escalated. He glimpsed Marcus turning, shaking his head. "You don't know what you're dealing with, but I won't let you ruin everything." But just then, a figure emerged from the crowd, wildly waving a phone. "Stop!" It was Lena, the reporter. "You're all in danger!" Everyone stopped, confusion melding into tension. Samuel's eyes darted between the gun, the shouting men, and Lena's frantic gestures. "What are you talking about?" Mason snarled, his grip on his gun firm. "There's a car bomb!" she shouted, voice breaking through the chaos. "They're coming for you! All of you! You have to run!" Dread washed over Samuel. Was this the end of everything? Then, just as Lena's warning sank in, a deafening explosion rocked the street. The ground shook violently beneath them, sending Samuel sprawling to the pavement. Fire lit the sky, illuminating the chaos as flames leapt into the night. "Oh my God!" Samuel gasped, heart racing. He scrambled to his feet, adrenaline surging. As the smoke cleared, the air was thick with acrid fumes. He looked around, disbelief coursing through him. The jagged ruins of what were once luxury cars blazed fiercely, illuminating stunned faces. And suddenly, through the dust and chaos, a figure moved, stepping out from the fire, as if untouched. It was Jacob, The man in the suit. The one who should have been caught in the explosion. Stay away! Jacob snarled, but there was an unholy gleam in his eyes. Run! Samuel shouted, but it was too late. The chaos of the explosion had shifted everything in an instant. Everyone scattered as Jacob raised his weapon again, but not at Marcus. Something flickered in Samuel's mind like an electric shock. Shock twisted into clarity as a realization flooded him. Was Jacob not just a player? He was the mastermind behind it all. Lena's warning echoed in Samuel's ears, and with a spark of courage, he faced Jacob. We know what you've done. In that moment, the entire scenario shattered. What Samuel thought he understood flipped upside down. Jacob smirked, a sinister grin cutting through the black smoke. You have no idea what you're getting into, he taunted. And in that chilling moment, everything Samuel believed about loyalty, family, and truth warped into something grotesque. Samuel's heart raced. This was more than a fight for survival now. It was a reckoning. The night swirled with uncertainty, but one unmistakable truth pressed down on him like the weight of the world. Everything he thought was real. Everything he believed about family was stained with betrayal. As Jacob stepped closer, fear gripped Samuel's throat. Was he truly prepared to face a monster he once revered? And in the chaos of that burning night, he felt the future slip through his fingers. Everything hazy, uncertain, yet palpably real. He was about to discover just how far the truth could shatter reality. Samuel's heart raced. The heat of the chaos of the explosion still rumbled in his ears, but all he could feel was the connection tightening around them like a noose. The truth he thought he had clawed to the surface, twisted like smoke in the air. You have no idea what you're getting into, Jacob said, a cruel smile curling his lips. This isn't just about you and your little brother. There's so much more at stake. What do you mean? Samuel shot back, fists clenched tight, heart pounding in his chest. Just then, a scream erupted from the crowd. A woman's voice, piercing through the chaos like a siren. No, not now! It was Lena, racing toward them, panic etched into every feature. Samuel's eyes widened. Lena, get back! But before he could reach her, everything changed. A blinding flash burst from Jacob's direction. Time seemed to slow as both Samuel and Lena turned. The heat slammed into him like a wall. An ear-splitting explosion rocked the street, a second blast that seemed to swallow everything whole. Flames shot high into the sky, roaring like a beast unleashed. Samuel fell back, instinctively shielding his face as debris rained down. He felt a sharp pain slice across his arm, and he struggled to sit up. The ground was hot beneath him, and smoke curled all around. Lena! He shouted, pushing through a fog of confusion, desperately scanning the wreckage. Where are you? But the answer was silenced by the chaos that descended like a heavy blanket. Finally, as the smoke began to clear, he staggered to his feet. The world appeared altered, fragmented, like something from a nightmare. People were scattering, screaming, panic etched into their faces. But amid it all, Samuel's eyes darted to the center of the debris, where he saw a silhouette. Lena, lying motionless, No! Despair pooled in his stomach as he rushed toward her. The flickering flames closed in, but nothing mattered except reaching her. Lena, please! Her body lay still, blood pooling beneath her. Samuel's heart fell, a lead weight dragiendo him para atrás. ¿Cómo había esto ocurrido? A luces de confusión y terror llenaban el aire, pero no podía escuchar el pompeo de su caratena. Estantes, algo se levantó dentro de él, una voz brateando viujas de grietas. Los pedacitos se unieron hacia el poste. Las conversaciones que habían oído de los nombres. No era solo Jacob, era todo lo relacionado con algo más histérico. Something terrible y mucho más grande que él había realizado. Contentiendo al cuerpo de Lena, angustiado por la angustia. La voz de Jacob lentó por la calle. No quieres de entenderla. Las palabras de maldad te han estado tarde, Samuel. Lena siempre fue una piedra en este juego, como tú eres. Confusion turned into horror. What do you mean? Samuel gasped, twisting to face Jacob. The reality crashing in. Lena was never what she seemed. She was sent to keep an eye on you. Before Jacob could finish, a figure emerged from the smoke behind him. Sarah stepped into view, eyes wide, breathless. No, don't tell him! Why? Samuel demanded, clutching Lena tighter. What don't I know? But then it hit him. The betrayal stacked higher than he imagined. The people in his life weren't who they claimed to be. Loyalty was merely a mask. The weight of that realization crashed down, and within it, his despair morphed into unyielding rage. Get away from her! He yelled, every fiber of his being igniting with fury. But in that moment, something shifted. A flash of hope sparked. Lena's fingers twitched. It was almost imperceptible, but it ignited Samuel's heart. Lena, please! He cried, the shock coursing through him, igniting a fire in his veins. And at that moment, slicing through the dark web of betrayal, the truth tore through him like a jagged blade. There were secrets buried deep here, ones that meaningfully twisted the relationships he thought he understood. But just as everything began to unravel, and he desperately sought answers, a gunshot rang out. It echoed through the chaos, loud and definitive, and Samuel clutched Lena tighter, an icy grip of fear flooding his veins. In the midst of the growing chaos, something entirely unexpected happened. Jacob staggered, disbelief etched on his face, eyes wide with shock. He fell, revealing a figure behind him, cloaked in shadows. Surprise! Samuel's world tilted on its axis as the figure stepped into the flickering light. It was David, his brother, with a gun in his hand and a look of cold determination. The revelation hung heavy in the air. Everything Samuel had believed shattered around him like fragile glass. David, the brother he thought he lost to darkness, was now the wild card in this deadly game. What other secrets lay hidden beneath the surface? With his heart racing, Samuel felt the ground shift again. The game far from over. He grasped for the truth, just as the world around. David, gun still raised, faced Jacob with a cold determination that sent chills down Samuel's spine. This ends here, David growled, stepping forward, eyes blazing with a fire that mirrored the chaos around them. No. Lena stirred, pushing herself up. Blood trickled from a cut on her forehead, but her spirit was fierce. Don't do this, David. Stay out of this, Lena, David shouted, voice taut. You don't know what he's capable of. Every muscle in Samuel's body screamed for action. He knew this confrontation could change everything. He locked eyes with Jacob, whose smugness was now replaced by a hint of desperation. "We're done playing your games, Jacob," Samuel shouted, drawing strength from the chaos that threatened to engulf them. "The lies, the manipulation, it's over." The crowd, once caught in fear, had shifted. Faces now peered out, eyes wide, waiting for the next move. There were sirens wailing like a haunting melody, and the smell of smoke hung heavy. Jacob smirked, but there was a tremor in his voice. "You think you have the power here? You're nothing but pawns in this game. You don't know who I have backing me." "Then let's see them." Samuel took a step closer, heart racing. He had nothing left to lose. "You're nothing without your money and your power. Face us!" A flicker crossed Jacob's face. "You're playing a dangerous game, Samuel." "Enough!" David shouted, raising his weapon, determination painted across his features. "You're not walking away from this. You'll answer for what you've done to our family, to Lena." In that moment, the world narrowed. Samuel felt a slick warmth on his arm. Pain shot through him as he lifted his gaze. David's expression flickered with alarm. Before he could respond, the crack of another gunshot rang out. "No!" Screams erupted in waves, and everything turned into a frenzy. Samuel instinctively dropped to the ground, adrenaline spiking. Against all odds, he rolled toward Lena and pulled her behind the cover of a fallen beam, where the dust swirled in the chaos. He looked up, breath hitching. Jacob had fallen, his face twisted in disbelief, blood pooling beneath him. A gasp echoed through the crowd. Shock rippled like a tidal wave. This wasn't just a fight anymore. It was the unraveling of secrets that had long chains. But before Samuel could process it all, a familiar face emerged from the smoke. Sarah, eyes frantic, red hair flying wildly. "It's not over. We need to get out of here," she yelled, urgency in her voice. "Hold on," Samuel shouted, pulling Lena closer. He couldn't leave. Not again. But everything in him told him to stay alive, that survival was the priority now. But as they turned to flee, the night erupted anew. A sound like thunder rolled through the air as other cars began exploding. Flames shot high, illuminating the darkness. "Go, now!" he cried to Sarah, dragging Lena and stumbling into the throng of people escaping the nightmare. The streets were chaos, people screaming, scattering. And as they pushed through, the reality of what they faced finally hit Samuel with full force. He was alive, but at what cost? Betrayal hung in the air, thick like fog. And behind him, the echoes of crunchy footsteps and burning debris signaled that this wasn't over. As they reached a safety zone where the first responders were finally arriving, Samuel looked at Lena, then at Sarah and David. This was just the beginning. Shadows loomed behind them, dark and uncertain, as whispers of deeper plots still lay waiting in the wings. "Samuel," Lena gasped, breathless. "We can't let it end like this. There are still questions, truths that need to come out." As he looked back at the chaos, uncertainty gnawed at him, twisting every thought. The night had changed him forever, awakening a survivor within. There was work to do, and as the debris settled, The world beyond flickered with lingering shadows where answers lay buried. Samuel took a deep breath, determination pulsing through him. He would rise from the ashes of this night. He would find the truth behind the lies. And as hope ignited in his heart, an urgency surged through him, a call to action that rippled from this moment. You need to subscribe now. Don't wait. Smash that like button to show your support. Flood the comment section below with your thoughts and theories about what just happened. And share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this epic finale. This is the moment to act. Don't let it slip away. Let's uncover the truth together.